Hello, everybody. I am Earl Ashmore. Thank you for spending a little bit of your time with us today. Our group's instructional design project is about Google Drive, more specifically, the Google Drive Office Suites. This will, of course, involve the training of staff and students at our imaginary middle school. Google offers every user 15 gigabytes of free space on their servers. Free is good. Free Office Suites is also good. Saving money in the field of education is extremely good. During moments, if not hours, of group collaboration and contemplation, we decided to give all of you an overview of building a rubric. It will not be just any rubric, though, as this rubric is made using Google Forms. Many of you are already teachers, and some of you use rubrics every day. However, a few of us loathe the prospect of making a rubric because it can be so time-consuming. Enough of the banter. Let me introduce you to our troupe of experts. Our instructionologist today will be Mrs. Betty Berger.
Hi, my name is Betty Berger.
Our interventionist and Google Suites expert is Mr. Stephen Dosher.
Hi, everybody. My name is Stephen Dosher.
Finally, the mastermind behind weaving this video together and Google Forms expert is Mr. William Patrick DeShields.
Hello, this is William Patrick DeShields.
With no further ado, let the show begin.
Hello, my name is Betty Berger, and I'm going to explain how to set up a rubric using Google Forms. To begin setting up a Google Form, you need to sign into your Google account. At the top of the screen, you will see a black 3x3 grid, and you need to click on that. In this drop-down menu, you choose Google Drive. This will take you to the Google Drive page, and in the top left-hand corner of this page, you'll see a Create button. Click on that. This is where you open up your Google document, presentation, spreadsheet, or form. So go ahead and click on your form, since that's what we're going to use to create the rubric. The first thing you want to do when you create your rubric is to give it a title. So at the top of the page, click on Untitled Form. This will open up this pop-up window, and you want to give your form a name. I am going to use this form to write a math project, so I'm going to entitle this Metric Conversion Math Project, and I'm going to click OK. Now that we have a title, we are prompted to do a question title here. However, you want to think about identifying information. So really the first thing we want to put on our rubric is name. So we're going to, for the question title, we're just going to enter name. Now if you want to add additional information to your question, you can always click on the Help Text button. You can put additional information in here. So I'm going to add last and first to remind the student to put both names in there. Now in order to get the type of question I want, I don't need a multiple choice question. So I'm going to click on the drop down menu. I need a text box so that the students have a place to put their name. So that's what that one will do. I want this to be a required question, and then I click Done. I want to add another item, and this time I want to add another text box to identify the class. So in the question title, I'm just going to put class. If you teach more than one math class, you will probably want to have a section number or some other number that identifies which section you are. Okay, this is going to require a text box, so here it is. We want this to be a required question, and then we click Done. So now we have our title, our name box, and our class box. So we click Add an Item. This is where we want to add an explanation of our point values. So in order to do that, we're going to do check boxes. This is the type of question. And we're going to give the title for this as Explanation of Point Values. If there's any additional information, you can put it in the help text. So we're going to give the explanation, and what we're going to do for our students is we're going to say, we're going to give them 0 points if it's incomplete. We're going to give them 1 point if it is a little effort. We're going to give them 2 points for mostly complete. We're going to give them 3 points for complete. And we're going to give them 4 points for complete plus additional work. Okay. Then we're just going to click done. Okay. Now we're ready to put in our rubric questions. So we want to add an item. And when we're putting in the categories we want to measure on the rubric, we want to go to the advanced settings and we want to click on grid. Okay. The first category that I am going to measure is problem solving. Okay. If there's additional information, you can add it here. In row 1, you want to repeat that. And then in your columns, you want to put in your points. So I'm going to put in 0 through 4 because those are my point values. My rows is problem solving and my columns are the points. This is a required question and I'm done. The next category I want to measure is math content. So I'm going to choose a grid question. In the question title, I'm going to put in math content. I'm going to also call the row math content. And I'm going to put in my point values here. Click required question and done. And now we're seeing the rubric take shape. Okay. I'm going to add a third column, a third row to my evaluation. And this is going to be presentation. And I'm going to choose a grid for this. And in the first row, I'm going to do presentation. And in the columns, I'm going to add my points. And this is a required question, and I'm going to click done. And you can see, I'm going to stop here. You can keep adding categories for the rubric. There's one last thing you want to do before you finish your rubric, and you want to make sure that you have one last item. You want to add a paragraph text for comments. This will enable you to give verbal feedback to the students, and you can actually write in personal notes. So we're going to call this comments, and we have the text box here to do that. And so then we click done. Okay, now we want to go back and look at our rubric to see if everything's okay. See if everything's spelled okay, if the information that we want is on here. And if you notice as I'm running the cursor over this, I can use this to edit something. So I don't really see anything to edit, but if you want to edit, you can just do this. So if you click on the edit button just to show you, it will take you back to this screen. And if you didn't like the word presentation here, you could add to it or subtract from it. Make your changes and then go down and click done. And that's how you would edit your rubric before you finalize it. At the end, there's 3 boxes down here that you can choose. I'm going to click on publish and show a public link to form results so that if I chose to share these results with the student, I could do that. If you allow your students to do any self-evaluation, you can allow them to edit the responses after submitting. I'm not going to do that one for this one. So I'm going to end this and I'm going to send the form. Okay. You have options here. You can embed the link somewhere. You can send this form via email, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to click done. Okay. So now that I've finished with my rubric, I can go up here and I can view the live form. This is the form that I will fill out to grade the students to transfer the information to the Google Sheet. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fill this form out really quickly and show you how it transfers to the Google Sheet. And this is how you would do it. This is just an explanation of the points. I'm looking at the math project, and I give them a 3 for problem solving, 2 for math content, and a 4 for their presentation. I go down here and I give them a comment. Great job on presentation. And then I submit this. Okay. And so then you'll get a note here that thanks you for that. Go back to your original screen and you can actually view the responses now. This will take you to your Google spreadsheet and all the grades are transferred here. And you notice it does a timestamp, gives you my name, my class, and here are the score values for your rubric. And here are the comments that you gave to the student.
Rubrics are powerful tools for educators. However, there are other types of assessment as well. And one of the things that forms can do for you is provide quick quizzes, and they can be processed through a rubric system internally in Sheets called Flubaroo. Let me show you briefly how that works. First of all, you'll need to have your form with the students able to access it, and this is an example of that. Remember, the key is to have that name field, their email address so you can send them their results, and a series of important questions as well. You click on the Submit button, and that sends the information over to your sheet. Your sheet contains all of that information, and notice how the quizzes are timestamped here. Email addresses, names, and their responses. Now here's where it gets fun. In the add-ons menu, you can use Get Add-ons and go search and find Flubaroo. Flubaroo will grade your assignment. Here we're going to regrade the assignment. As it works, we are going to notice some of the answers that were given are different here. So there should be some variations. Are we sure we want to continue? Of course. We are replacing existing grades. This is the second test. Now, grading step 1, you just kind of look through this. This identifies the student, the different items. Now, this particular item needs to be skipped because it's blank. And also, our last question had to do with the Latin meaning of rubric. So we're going to make that worth extra points. We'll make it worth 4. We continue. In grading step 2, they want to know where the key is. One of those responses needs to be your answer key, and the teacher needs to provide that response, usually as the first, but label it as key so that you can select it here. Now it will grade the other responses against that answer key. Grading is complete, and let's view our grades. Now we have all of the students here and their resulting percentages here. Now we can certainly shift this and we could sort by percentage, we could sort by name, but the information is all contained here. Back to our add-ons, other functions of Flubaroo. We can view a report, which gives us a histogram of the grades, noting that we had students who are scoring 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1, nobody in the 4s. And we can even email that to ourselves so we have a good idea of how effective our assessment was. Returning to Flubaroo, in the add-ons, we can email out those grades. So this will send their grades to these students here. Here we see that 9 grades were successfully emailed. And here you'll see where the email was sent to the student, and it contains the grade, 7 out of 7, tells them there's a message below. Keep on studying, you can do it. Great job. And here are the questions. And you can see that rubric does come from the Latin rubrica, meaning red ink, as in the decorated red headers of medieval books. It is true. So this is another option for for those of you that are looking for different ways to use forms for quizzes and assessment and sort of an internal rubric to grade students and provide feedback on their formative and summative assessments.
So there you have it. This is the conclusion of our presentation on how to use Google Forms to do a rubric, a quiz, or an assessment. We hope that you try to use Google Forms in your classroom to discover all of its uses. Thank you for watching our presentation.